In 2022, the global automotive industry was almost unanimous on one thing. Pure battery electric was the future. Every legacy brand had announced an electric vehicle-only target year. Jaguar said 2025. Volvo said 2030. General Motors said 2035. Volkswagen sank tens of billions of dollars into ID models that have underperformed every internal forecast. And in the middle of all of this, Toyota, the largest automaker in the world by volume, refused to play along. Akio Toyoda, then Chief Executive Officer of Toyota and now Chairman, was openly mocked by the press, by competitors, and by electric vehicle advocates for arguing that a hybrid-first multi-pathway strategy was the right approach. He was called a dinosaur. He was called out of touch. He was accused of holding the industry back. In 2026, every word he said is being quietly proven correct. And the brands that mocked him are panicking. Start with the numbers in Australia. Toyota sold a record 241,296 vehicles in 2024. Its best calendar year result ever, beating a record that had stood since 2008 and extending its run as Australia's #1 brand to 22 straight years. More than 100,000 of those, over 4 in 10, were hybrids. Toyota's hybrid sales have grown every single year for the last decade. To put the scale of that shift in perspective, just 12 months earlier, Toyota had delivered around 72,000 hybrids in Australia. In a single year, it added tens of thousands more, while the brand's hybrid mix climbed past 40% of everything it sells. And that is with the diesel-only Hilux and Land Cruiser still among its biggest sellers, dragging the average down. The RAV4 hybrid alone has a waiting list in some configurations that runs 6 to 12 months long. The RAV4 finished 2024 as the second best-selling vehicle in all of Australia, behind only the Ford Ranger after its sales nearly doubled year on year, a jump of around 98% as the hybrid version finally became widely available. The very same model went on to become the best-selling car in the entire world in 2024, overtaking the Tesla Model Y for the global crown. Toyota's 3-year residual values are among the strongest in the entire Australian market. Now look at what happened to the brands that bet against Toyota. Jaguar's rebrand and electric vehicle-only pivot has been a public disaster, with global sales collapsing and the dealer network contracting. Volvo walked back its 2030 plan to go electric vehicle only in late 2024. Volkswagen reduced electric vehicle production targets multiple times across 2024 and 2025. Ford cancelled or delayed several electric vehicle platform projects. General Motors has paused or restructured electric vehicle investments. The list keeps getting longer. And the market data underneath those decisions is brutal. In Australia, 2024 was the year the electric vehicle story stalled. Pure electric sales actually went backwards as a share of the momentum the industry had counted on, while hybrids surged 76% and plug-in hybrids more than doubled. Tesla, the brand that defined the category, posted its first annual sales decline in its history that year. Its Australian deliveries fell by around 17%, and that was despite price cuts of up to $9,500 trying to hold the line. Sit with that for a moment. Tesla cut prices hard and still sold fewer cars. Meanwhile, Toyota raised no alarm, cut nothing in panic, and sold more hybrids than ever. One company was discounting its way through a downturn. The other had a waiting list. Toyota's argument was never that electric vehicles are bad. The argument was always that the world is too big and too varied for a single technology solution. Some buyers have home charging, most do not. Some countries have stable grids, many do not. Some driving patterns suit a 400-kilometre battery. Most Australian rural and regional driving patterns do not. The grid in Australia, the charging network coverage, the housing stock, and the resale market did not align with a one-size-fits-all electric vehicle mandate. Toyota's response was the hybrid. A car that fills up at any servo, drives like a normal car, costs less to fuel than a petrol equivalent, requires no behavioural change from the buyer, has well understood depreciation, and slots into the existing service network without infrastructure investment. Every hybrid Toyota has sold in Australia over the last decade has been the right car for the conditions on the ground. And the market has responded by buying them in numbers that no electric vehicle brand has matched. A hybrid asks nothing of the buyer. There is no app to set up, no charger to install in a rented apartment, no road trip anxiety about whether the next town has a working fast charger. You drive it exactly like the petrol car you traded in, and it quietly uses less fuel. For the average Australian household weighing up a major purchase under cost of living pressure, that combination of zero behavioural change and lower running costs was never going to lose to a technology that demanded a lifestyle change first. The financial argument is even cleaner. A Toyota RAV4 hybrid bought new in 2022 has lost only around 16 to 19% of its value in 3 years. A Tesla Model Y bought new in the same period has lost, in some configurations, more than 40%. Now, part of that EV depreciation is driven by aggressive price cuts on new models. Not just the technology itself, but the result for the owner is the same, a much steeper loss. The Toyota owner also has access to over 280 dealer service points across Australia. The Tesla owner has access to a service centre network that, depending on location, may require a one-way drive of several hours. And depreciation is not an abstract number. It is the single biggest cost of owning a car, bigger than fuel, bigger than insurance, bigger than servicing. A buyer who lost 40 or 50% in 3 years did not just lose on paper. They handed over tens of thousands of dollars in real money the moment they tried to sell. The Toyota buyer in the same 3 years kept most of it. The brands that bet against Toyota are now scrambling to reintroduce hybrids and plug-in hybrids back into their lineups. Jaguar has confirmed combustion range extenders in future product. Volvo is keeping mild hybrids alive longer than planned. Volkswagen is accelerating plug-in hybrid programs. Hyundai and Kia, which had been positioning themselves as Toyota's main hybrid threat, are now competing directly on hybrid SUVs with the Tucson Hybrid and Sportage Hybrid as their best-selling models. Notice what that means. The very strategy that got Toyota mocked was simple. Keep the combustion engine alive, electrify gradually, give buyers a bridge instead of a cliff. It is now the strategy almost every one of its competitors is racing to copy. They did not arrive there because they admired Toyota. They arrived there because the sales data left them no choice. Here is the practical takeaway. If you're buying a vehicle in Australia in 2026 and you are uncertain about the technology direction, the data points in one direction. A hybrid from a brand with strong dealer infrastructure and proven residual values is the lowest risk purchase in the market right now. That is not an anti-electric vehicle argument. Electric vehicles work for some buyers, in some conditions, with some driving patterns. But the brand that quietly refused to abandon the hybrid is the brand whose owners have lost the least money over the last 5 years, and whose owners will most likely lose the least money over the next 5 years. Toyota was not right because Toyota was conservative. Toyota was right because Toyota understood that Australia is not the same as Europe. And a car strategy that works in Oslo does not automatically work in Orange.